Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. In this episode, we're going to do some digital blending with multiple exposures. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. My name is Serge Ramelli. I am a French photographer living in the incroyable, the amazing, the superb, the ever wonderful city of Paris, France, and the very sunny city of Los Angeles, California. And I make 2 tutorials per week. Click here if you want to sign up to my daily newsletter, where you will get access to one of the greatest library in the world of free raw files, presets, tutorials. All you have to do is click here to sign up. You enter your email address, you create an account, and then you can access the section of the website called free lessons. For each lesson, you can have source files. You click on the source files, and boom, you are good to go. All right. One thing I'm doing these days is I'm going back to in my Lightroom library on very old photos and just retouching it with today's technology. And I want to show you a nice digital blending that I did on the photos that I took 7 years ago. So here we go. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. So I realized that it's been a while that I have not done a digital blending, which is with Aurora SGR is one of my favorite way of doing landscape or urban landscape retouching. And I want to show you an example of one of my favorite photo ever. It's a photo that I shot way back in time. If you look at the metadata, I shot this back in 2007, August 2007. And it's a funny story because I was shooting that night. I was trying to shoot Notre Dame. And I was with my stepsister, and she said, look around you, look behind you. And there was this amazing sunset on the Pont Neuf, which is what you see here. And I thought, oh, I'm going to bracket it and see what I can do with it. So yeah, that's something I shot 7 years ago. I shot it with a Canon 5D, not the 5D Mark II, but the 5D. If you go into your library and you look in your metadata, you can see which camera I use. And you can see here the model was a 5D. And the 5D was a nice camera. It was a very noisy camera. It was a nice camera. Now, what I did is I did a little bracketing. So that's the normal exposure. That is the underexposure. And that is the overexposure. Now, honestly, I can get away with just one exposure. And why would you want to do 3 exposures? Well, because mainly I'm trying to get some of that underexposed here. You see the little details here in the sky. I want to get that. And I think by mixing all 3 exposures, we can get the best. Also, on the lone exposure, look at the water. The water is more silky than on a normal exposure. On a normal exposure, you have like a bit of a high frequency. So what I'm looking for is basically a little bit of this photo, a little bit of this photo, and a little bit of that photo to get a final result. Now, my main photo is going to be the normal exposure, which if you look at it was at 2.5 second at 5.0 and ISO 100. Now, that was a bit of a mistake to put the to be at 5.0 because I guess this is going to be a bit blurry. Not even because, well, nothing was very close to my camera. So a lot of people ask me, what do you focus on when you do landscape? Well, honestly, if you are shooting above f4 and what you're focusing is far away, and this photo is a good example. Look how sharp this is. Look how sharp this is. And the reason is because everything is far away. So when it's far away, you can get away with 5.0. And the reason why I was a bit low is because on the underexpose, I only go to half a second, but on the overexpose, I go to 10 seconds. The problem was there were so many boats coming that if I had like a 30-second exposure, I was taking a big risk to have a boat coming into my photos. So that's why I was around f5. So it was not such a mistake. So the way I do it is I retouch each photo for what I want. This one is I would say the normal exposure. So I'm going to open up the shadows and bring down the highlights. You've seen me do that. Now look at this photo. This is like just the raw files on retouch. It was a beautiful sunset. I'm going to add a little bit of vibrance. Not so much because it was so colorful. Every time I show this photo to people, they're saying, oh, you photoshopped it, you add too many things. Believe me, it was an amazing sunset. In my top 5 ever. It was 7 years ago, and I still remember it very vividly. It was very red, very beautiful. So I'm going to take my black slider. I'm going to do my black point. Holding the Alt key always makes it white. Whenever you see some black, it means that this is 100% black, which is fine for me. And then I'm going to do my white point. Okay, now I have to make a decision about the white balance, and I think on this one I'm just gonna, I like it to be very blue. I'm just gonna add a little bit of color and maybe a little bit, I think it's a bit too blue, a little bit of yellow. Just a little bit, not so much. One thing I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna, because it's a 5D, it's a very, even at ISO 100, I always had noise with the 5D. Look here in the trees, there's a lot of noise. We're gonna replace some of it with the overexposed photo, so that should be fine. But I'm gonna go into the noise reduction, and I think I'm gonna go to a good 30 on the noise reduction. Yeah, 30 is good. Maybe 25. Well, 30 is all right. Then I have this rule where I take the number 100 and I take out the 30. That gives me 70 of sharpening. Okay, that's good. And don't forget to do your masking. You don't want to sharpen the sky. So I move with the Alt key, my masking, until the sky is black. If I'm going too fast, please watch a few other videos on my channel. You will see me do this over and over again. Okay, now that's done. I'm going to unbar the profiles correction and remove chromatic aberration. Very important. I think there might be some here. Look, this red here. Maybe this is going to help to take it out a little bit. You see the red here on the roof? Yeah. Not all of it, but it did help. But that always happens when you have the sun right into, I mean, the sun was right below the Pont Neuf Bridge. And I like how I have, you know, this element here, and it just, I love the composition of this photo. I really like it a lot. Look at all the red here in the trees. So if I don't have the chromatic aberration on, it doesn't do much there. One thing you can do on chromatic aberration, you can go to colors and you can go to defringe. You choose first your hue. Okay, my problem is more in the red, so I can, you know, go in this hue and then do a little defringe, and it's going to take care of that. But don't do it too much, you see, because now it took too much out. So that's way too strong. You have to be very gentle. Yeah, that's even too much. That's even too much. Yeah, I'm putting it at 1. And I'm going to put it really, because it's taking out the red against the blue there. So it's a bit tricky. I mean, this is a 7-year-old photo. So, you know, that's why it's always good to keep your raw files. You never know what you can have and retouch over the years. Okay, on this one, I'm still going to use, now I want to show you something that's really problematic on this photo, because this photo I did very big prints on. You see here, there's a lot of noise there. So I'm going to be using this photo, which is the overexposed photo, for a lot of it too, because there is no noise in this overexposed photo. You only get noise when you open the shadows on, you know, noisy photo, and because it's a 5D photo, it's very noisy. So I'm going to have to play the whole bottom part of the photo is going to be a lot this photo. But still, you know, I like to have options. So next, no, I'm not done with this one. I'm going to do a graded filter. So, and on this one, I'm just going to lower a little bit the exposure and maybe add a bit of blue, just a little tiny bit, or yeah, no, little tiny bit of blue, and underexpose a little bit. I don't want it to underexpose here, so I'm going to use my brush, and I'm going to click on erase. That's a new option that we have now, so I can erase the effect of the graded filter, so it doesn't do it on these trees here. So check it out. Before the graded filter, you see how it only affects mostly the sky. That's kind of cool. Okay, so I'm happy with this one. I know there is some issues. I know, and that's when it's good to do bracketing. There is too much noise here. It's not going to be usable for a big print. Okay, here is this one. This is the underexposed photo. The only part of this photo that I'm interested in is the sky. So on this one, I'm just going to press Command-Shift-C, because what I want to get is I'm going to check none, and I'm going to check process version, because I want to copy and paste that setting to that setting. So process version, white balance, and lens correction. Okay, that I want to copy and paste from one photo to the other, and that's it. So then I'm going to press Command V, and it's just going to copy the same white balance. We have the exact same one. On this one, I'm going to open up the shadows. No, the highlights, maybe I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm going to maybe boost a little bit the exposure, then bring down a bit the highlights, boost the exposure, bring down the highlights. Now this is going to be a super noisy photo. Look at this, very noisy. So the only thing that's kind of usable is a little bit of the sky on this one. And you know what, I think it's too much exposed. Okay, and let's look at the noise that there is in the sky. There is a lot of noise in the sky. So I'm gonna go crazy on this one. I'm gonna go like 50 or 60 and 70. I'm gonna go crazy. I don't want any noise in the sky here. So that's good. Now I don't have any noise, and I'm just, I just want to get all the details here. That's really what I want for this photo. Okay, then we have this photo, and something I'm gonna press Command V to copy and paste the white balance that we did. So I know I have the same white balance, and now on this one I'm gonna underexpose a little bit the photo, bring down the highlights. But you see on this one, the sky is totally burned. But then in the trees, everywhere, we got no noise at all, which is really cool. I like that. So, and I'm not going to put up shadows completely. It's going to be crazy on this one. So I'm going to do my black point. Yeah, not so much, a little bit. Yeah, it's a bit too much. I'm going to do my white point. Okay. So I'm basically going to use mainly the bottom of the photo with this one and the top of this photo of this one. And this one is going to be in case I need it, because I like the long exposure there. Maybe I don't like this people being blurry now with the long exposure. Maybe I'm going to enjoy more this people which are less blurry. That's why I'm going to take both photos. So it's going to be really a mixed up between all three photos. Okay, and this one, I think it's pretty cool. So now I'm ready to jump into Photoshop to do my digital blending. So I'm going to select all three photos. Oh, hold on this one, even so there is not much noise, I still want to do some noise correction. I still want to do maybe 20 noise corrections, about 80 of sharpening, yeah, and do my masking on the sharpening. Voila. Okay, cool. So we got a very clean photo here with no noise. See here in this, there is no noise at all. It's a bit blurry from the wind, but that's all right. That's kind of cool. Okay, so now that I have all three photos selected, I'm going to right-click, edit, open as layers in Photoshop. So Lightroom is going to render what we did, and it's going to put it into Photoshop and put each photo on its own layer. Now I was shooting this on a tripod, so normally they are completely aligned. But sometimes you have surprises, and it's very important that they are completely aligned. So before I do anything, I usually like to align the photo. But first, the way I do my digital blending is I always put on top the the darkest photo. I put in the middle the normal photo, and I put on the lower part the overexposed photo. So we have, this is the under. You can see it's a dark one, underexposed. Then we have the overexposed here, so it's at the right place. And then we have the normal exposure. Okay, so you can see here, let me zoom in, normal, under, over. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the normal, I'm going to put it in the middle. So now once you have got the under, normal, and over, well done, then you press the Alt key and click here on the mask tool. That's going to make a black mask, making this whole layer disappear. Okay, then we take a brush. Make sure the brush is white, opacity 100, flow 100. Make sure you're on the mask, and the hardness is at 0%. And then I'm going to start brushing back the black sky. Now it's going to be tricky, and this is when luminosity masks are very handy. But I want to see if we can do it without using luminosity mask, because I'm not so used to luminosity mask, and I know I should learn it more. I use it, but not that much. Okay, sometimes I just like, you see, so it makes like a little bit of a weird thing here. Let me show you the before and after. We get a more dense sky. Okay, the problem is because we brought in a lot of noise there. So I'm going to make my brush smaller. I'm going to revert it. And now I'm going to go in with black. Okay, to try to hide this layer. We have like a pretty blurry result. Something here. And the whole idea is to do something that people is not going to notice. Okay. And sometimes you have to go use the border of your brush. You see I'm taking out some of the sky now. But you're better off doing that than doing something weird. Maybe this. Okay. You see here, there's a halo here. It doesn't work. So I'm going to go back to my brush and X again. Then this time I'm going to lower the brush at 50%. I'm on white now. So, and I'm just going to brush back using a bit the border of my brush to sort of mix both of the world. I want the sky, but not at any cost. Okay, because the sky doesn't make that much of a difference. It makes a difference, but not that much. Okay, now that seems to be pretty good. Let me see. You see we got something weird here. So when it's weird, you have to choose between which sky do you want. So I'm going to do this. Now it's going to bring back noise. It's going to be tricky. This is going to be tricky. I don't like the noise here. So I'm pressing X to go back on black. Yeah, that's going to be really tricky. I think, I should have used luminosity mask, but I didn't want to do a tutorial on luminosity mask. I'm going to show you a way to do it. So, okay, I'm taking it like it's not bad. I have an issue there. I'm going to see how I'm going to deal with that a bit later. First, I'm going to work on a normal thing. I'm going to create a white mask this time. And I really want to bring back the water. And let me see, is there any noise in the trees? Maybe just the water. Let's see the water, and that tree is really a problem for me. So I'm going to click on the white mask. Now this time I'm going to have a black brush, and I'm going to make sure the brush is back at 100% because I really want to blend then. And I'm just going to bring back that little nice silky water. Okay, so that I'm happy with that. That's good. I don't necessarily want to do it here because if I do it here, the people are going to be blurry because of the long exposure. So Command Z to undo. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, so let's see if I can do something about this tree here. So now I'm brushing the long exposure. But the problem, if I go a little bit too much, I'm going to bring back some of the sky. So this part is really an issue. Okay, everything else is pretty cool. There we have a little bit of a dark roof there. So I'm just going to blend that. I'm just trying to get the best of both worlds. Okay. You just play around with your brushes. Okay, now this is really weird. This part is really weird. So X to hide it again. Put it back as it was. X is white, so I'm just bringing it back the information from the top photo. Okay. Yeah, this is when luminosity mask is good because it can really help you do this part here. All right, so I'm going to click again on this. Black, make sure I'm going to take a black brush and I'm just going to do the middle of the tree. And all I'm doing I'm bringing with the black, I'm bringing this photo here, and this photo has got no noise in the tree. I don't want to, when I do a big print, to have a lot of noise in this photo. Okay, so I'm going to take a very small brush, and because we have a different exposure, it's okay. Black here. Okay, it's not bad, and it's not bad now. I think there's too much of a halo there. This is too bright, but it's good because it's got no noise anymore. That tree is blurry, but it doesn't have any noise. If I didn't do that, let me turn that mask off for a second. You see how noisy? You see this sort of red-green? Okay, that's the mask. You press Shift to turn it off and on. When I turn it back on, now we just get blurry trees, but there's no more noise. However, it's a bit too bright. So usually I want to correct that, and there's something weird here in the sky here. I think that's because, let me take this out. No. Oh no. Okay, yeah, it's coming from here. Here, I need to bring back some of the sunset here. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, but it can be done. It can be done. You just have to do it in a way. Play around with the brushes until you blend things and people don't see so much that you blend the exposure. But I'm kind of happy with that. I think it's too bright here. I'm going to correct that later on. So that's the sky. That's before and after we used the underexposed sky. That's the middle photo, and that's the under photo. See, we used the under photo for a lot of stuff here. And at the end of the day, I have something where I get all the details of the sky, and also, especially this was shot with a 5D, very old camera, so it was very noisy. And now we have a very like noiseless photo. All the people are sharp. I like the result. It's pretty cool. I just have a little issue here that I'm going to fix now. But I like the photo, and that's really how it felt that it was. I think I want to do some dodge and burn here a little bit, and I think I'm going to do that in Lightroom. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to file, close, and save. And that's just going to import the digital blending into Lightroom. We're going to go back into Lightroom. Voila, there we are. And now I'm ready to do a second development. And I'm going to take care of that first. So I'm going to take a brush. I'm going to go on to exposure. Take a minus exposure, and I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. I want to make this a little bit darker here, this part, so that it attracts less attention, because it's anyway a blurry tree. That's too much. So I'm going to turn it back on. Okay, this part for me is too bright, so I'm going to take a graded filter, make a little graded filter here on the water, and make this a bit lower so that we have a nice gradient in the water, something like that. And sometimes you can do a double development. So you can open up the shadows a bit, bring down the highlights. If you do it too much, you're going to get a super HDR feeling to it, which I don't want to do. So I'm just going to do it a little bit. People are already protesting that I'm doing too much this crazy look. I'm just trying to get the feel that I had. It was an amazing sunset. Yeah, something like this. So just, you know, a little bit of opening shadow, a little bit bring down the highlights, a little bit of white, a little bit of black. So just adding a little bit of contrast and a vibrance. And I mean, this is the original photo. It's not a huge change between the original and this, but I still find this one is a bit more sexy. This one is going to hit the home page of 500px. It's going to be crazy. Now, if you want to learn Photoshop, this is too much for you. There is one course that I recommend. If you go on my website and you click on tutorials and you click here, you type Photoshop, you will see there's a course here called Photoshop for Photographer, which is, you have to go, I have a lot of courses, but this one, Photoshop for Photographer. In this course, this is like a 6 hours course, sorry, 5 hours and 6 minutes. And the first thing that I do is first I do I use Camera Raw to do some light retouching on raw files, and I provide you with all the raw files, and then we're going to start, you know, changing the sky, adding some sky, doing some more advanced Photoshop stuff, you know, digital blending, like the way we just did different examples of digital blending, HDR, natural HDR, non-natural HDR, black and white, you know, erasing elements, and then finally we do like a full composite, you know, with a photo taken to a studio and the final result. So it's a great course to get started with Photoshop. I try to explain things as simple as possible, and you can get it on my website at Photoshop for Photographer, and you will get a discount if you go on my website. All you have to do is use the coupon PLP 231 to get 30% off this course, Photoshop for Photographer. Voila, mesdames et messieurs, and I'll see you in another episode. Do you want to get hundreds of raw files from all over the place where you can play around with? Do you want to get amazing free Lightroom presets, free brushes, free Photoshop actions? All you have to do is enter your email address. You will receive an email. You can then create an account, and then you can access this free lesson tab. You can choose from over 200 free lessons. Every free lesson is going to have source files for you to download and play around with. It's a great way to learn photography, learn post-processing for nothing. No money, it's all free. It's a gift to you as a member of photoserge.com. So thank you and welcome, and let's do some photos together.